Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do begin, let's give a brief little review. Now, in the last part, we had quite a tremendous amount of events happening. So let's go over them in a certain order. The fusion between Deku and Bakugo, known as the Champion, was making a mockery of the Demon Lord in their battle. And the Demon Lord, even when empowered by Warcry at level 4, he was being pushed back. And he was on the back foot. He took this fusion a lot more seriously, and decided to start taking the heroes a lot more seriously as well. Especially with the fact that he began employing his forbidden techniques and forbidden magics that he has access to. One thing the fusion wasn't aware of was the idea that the Demon Lord had access to anti-magic. And shortly after the battle began and the Demon Lord pulled out this magic type, the area became unstable. Magic was trying to pull the fusion apart, and the fusion let it. Fact of the matter was, Deku and Bakugo were both urging on this third subconscious to fight the Demon Lord. Take him out right here and right now. But he wanted to toy with the man. He wanted to make him pay for everything both halves of him have experienced. The only reason he exists is to kill the Demon Lord. So he was going to take his sweet time and enjoy it. Meanwhile, both halves did not like that. The Demon Lord was alarmed, however. Even after the fusion came undone, he saw Deku and Bakugo and one simple thing that happened to both of them when they unfused. Deku, the hero of Granola, the breaker of fate. He has destruction magic carved onto his very soul. And he somehow survived that process. It is now carved onto Bakugo. And he is still alive. This is quite phenomenal. He saw soul damage heal before his very eyes. The same affliction that prevents him and his other half from reuniting. It made him laugh. He was alarmed by this. He was just unbelievably annoyed. Druso killed the wrong man. Had he had a different vessel, his goal would have been completed. He would be whole again. Now, Deku told Bakugo to go back up Galore and take out the Elder's abominations that are fighting in the sky. Meanwhile, he pulled out the Horn of Judgment, Aurora's horn. And he started to use the magic he's been charging it with to fight the Demon Lord. And the man was not happy about it. Being bombarded with attacks of magical blades, being struck down by divine light from the sky. And even the fact was, he fought Deku. Deku, he's able to hold his own, but the two are able to counter each other. And when the Demon Lord pulled out another form of magic that he uses, Deku, he was able to endure its effects. The Demon Lord, alarmed by this, kept trying, even getting to the point where he thought he was able to kill Deku by cleaving the top of his skull off, only for him to get back up and show he's truly immortal. Deku's ability Chromatic Awakening activated and began restoring his health and magic, along with resetting his physical skills. Now then, Ochako, she backed away from the battle whenever she saw how feral Deku was getting. But Deku, he fought the Demon Lord until he activated a field of anti-magic and temporarily united with his other half, only for him to try and make an offer to Deku to join him. He can give him much. But he was then bewildered seeing that Deku, even without magic, stood against him with a weapon in hand. A man standing against a god. And that annoyed him. Deku was able to blow the horn one last time before being blasted in the stomach and left laying on the ground watching the battles above him. And that horn, it called out upon the multiverse, a sound that echoed through eternity, a call to action. And a number of people have answered that call, from the paladins and knights of Mount Celestia to the beings that inhabit the land of the dead, to the halls of battle and the lands after. They've answered the call of the hero. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does still somewhat lay there, feeling the hole in his gut mend as he can feel his legs. And whenever he does go to spin over and look around for his blade, he does go to whistle, him turning his head when the blade does come flying towards him, and he does grab the handle. Right now, him holding on to it with his left hand, climbing to his feet and looking around for the Demon Lord. He still has those creatures with him. He can summon monsters. It's not a bad idea. If he can use a summoning spell, then he might be able to find a creature to reunite with. Temporarily become one. Bakugo's off the table because of the result of that. The mental instability. He didn't want to dominate Bakugo's mind. That was the problem. Trying to make that... No, he can't leave this in the hands of someone else. Something else? Okay. Perhaps he'll have to try and plan that out better. Do more. And right now, there is where someone does come flying down in a suit of armor and a pair of wings on their back. Him turning his head and seeing a strange-looking man. And the man does go to fall to a knee and ask what aid they can be. They heard the call. And Eris, she gave them the order. The gods stand with them. And Deku does get a nod. Looking up and seeing that the other creature is still battling off against Galor's skeleton. Though Deku does get a turn. The Demon Lord's gone. He's nowhere to be seen. And this is where he does go to turn his head again and see a man in red robes come walking up, along with seeing other people. And among them is the King of York and many older... Holy shit. They got backup from everywhere. And right now, there is where King Drutha does go to raise his weapon and hold up a massive axe, asking the hero of Granala exactly what did he get sorted into. You know, something stupid. Fighting a god and kind of losing. Are you alright? Yes, son, are you alright? Him turning to Indra's father. And right now he just stare at the man in front of him. I'm fine. Listen, it's a lot to explain, but you'll be alright. Listen, for right now, we do not have time for simple greetings. I know. But still, there's a lot going on, and we're still suffering the effects. Like what? I'm not exactly at 100%. Right now, him looking down at the glowing red of his tattoos and seeing that, as the man does express. Whatever aid they can provide, but they don't know what else they can do. I'm not sure. Right now, take who you can and fight the creature above. Baku no Chako must be there as well. For right now, I've got to find out where the hell the Demon Lord went. And that is where the ground does begin to start shaking. And everyone, they do begin to turn their heads. Before he does get to express He does feel like that's not a good thing. I know, Atrig. Right now, them watching a slingshot come ripping out of the ground in the distance, and it does begin to step out. A massive creature on two legs. And Deku does go to be given the news. New event has began. And he does go look down and read the name. Star Eater Tarask. Information. The Demon Lord has summoned familiar Star Eater Tarask, which he has a life bond with. This creature is quite proficient and powerful. Variation of a normal Tarask exposed to far realm energies. And he does get to stare at that. Before he does look back up at the sky and think about what to do. And the men who do get to someone stand there, they've already began going into action. Some flying up to meet the battle above, while the rest stare at the battle in front of them. And Izuku is trying to think about what to do. Okay, not good. That being countered whenever he does see a massive creature begin to pour clouds to the sky and make a giant spectacle. As Deku does stare up and see the massive serpent with wings on its body. And he is a bit annoyed. Before he does go to look up and begin to telepathically tell Ochako and Bakugo about the problem. And the two, they're both currently in battle. Bakugo, he received 40 levels from taking out that damn creature. And that explosion? Yeah. His explosion magic combined with destruction magic, oh boy, certainly quite, quite destructive. He's going to need to tone that down. Though, from the sounds of it, it's not going to be happening anytime soon. So what's up? The Demon Lord summoned a Tarask. Okay, take it out. It's different. Besides, you think he's gonna... Shit. Yup. Yeah, that's not good. So what? Pull back on this thing? Galore? Can he? I don't know. Listen, though. I have a theory. Any good theories? Experimental at the best. Right now, the Tarask beginning to charge them, along with the other creatures that Deku does go to watch be summoned. And everyone, they do try their best. Mages begin to fly through the air and batter spells out of the Tarask. Meanwhile, Deku, he does begin to bring his hands up and he does to open his system. Right now, him going to dump the 2,200 points he has available into destruction magic. It jumping up to level 46. And Izuku, he is a bit wary. Though right now he does gotta look at the available magics on his sheet. He received gravity magic from Druso. He received a lot of levels in his raw magic. And he's got spatial magic. From the price on it, this one's pretty powerful. More advanced. Though, it's more like gravity. Space? Shit. He really needs time to put these through his paces, but he's gonna have to try something. Okay, he can try and hold the Tarask back with force magic, or use spatial magic, gravity magic. Destruction magic is the best option, because that's what was able to keep it at bay last time. But right now, a presence being felt. However, they do go to look up the Demon Lord. He is riding on the face of the Tarask. Right now, him roaring out something to it as it does begin to glow with power, and everyone does feel the aura around it shift as the war cry activates. And Izuku does stare at a creature that's charging him. The power in front of him, nearly divine. But this isn't good. Right now, his body does begin to pour with energy, and he does hold up his hands and create a massive ball of orange force. Him seeing it blasting out towards the Tarask as he does begin to dump his power into it. As long as his tattoos are active, he's restoring mana. And that is good. Right now, though, he's going to need a lot more mana if he wants to kill this thing. And Izuku, he does begin to force the ball of destruction towards the Tarask, him making it grow larger and larger and larger. And by the time it's bigger than a building, he does go to send it spiraling out forwards as the creature does go to rush out forward. It's directly meeting the ball of destruction and feeling it begin to tear into its flesh. And Deku, he does go to watch that, bringing his hands up and pouring more magic into the ball. But that doesn't work. He begins to push the Tarask back. Right now, him going to rush forwards and go to try and feed this thing more magic directly. The Demon Lord, however, does come in. And when he does try to attempt to slice at Deku, there is where someone does step forwards, bring up a massive weapon. Them slicing out forwards and meeting the Demon Lord's blade. As right now Deku, he does go to watch Bakugo step forwards and push back the Demon Lord. His aura fiery and red and raging brightly. And Deku, he does go to somewhat laugh to himself, remembering what his powers can do. The longer a battle goes on, the stronger he gets. The more enemies he faces, the stronger he gets. The more powerful an opponent Bakugo faces, the stronger he gets. He just has to do one very simple thing. Survive. And that is where the Demon Lord is no longer he is stepping back against Bakugo's furious strikes of the blade. And Izuku, he does go to turn his attention back towards the Tarask as he does to reach out to Ochako, asking if she's got things settled out with that damn monster above. I'm trying, but it's a little harder than it looks. How so? Well, you try fighting something that can heal faster than you can damage it. I'm upcasting spells, but even then, I'm starting to run out of magic. You? Yeah, me. Listen, I've been trying to keep this thing on the back foot, but I can't do much. I'm debuffing it, putting effects on it, and it's still not wearing down. At this rate, I'm gonna need more backup. Those people might have shown up, but what about your horn? I'm a bit busy. How busy? Well, I found something that can hold up to my destruction magic. It's healing just as fast as I can break it down. Are you serious? Deku going to stare at the Tarask and tell her. He's pretty sure he's watching it adapt in real time, so yeah, he's a bit serious. Bakugo's fighting the Demon Lord right now while he's got this thing held back. Though, it makes him question something. How so? Well, the Demon Lord's soul is fractured. We know that. From my read of his aura, it's shattered, broken, kind of. When they molded together, he just filled a space. And, Ochako, I can register damage on someone's body just by looking at them. I still have that one ability. Trust me. I know when someone's breaking down. Hell. Right now, the Tarask isn't, and that's my problem. But I can handle this. Just listen. Wear down the Demon Lord and take him out. Right now, he's like the Tarask. Like the... It's a familiar, isn't it? It is. Why? Think about it. Familiar. Deku going to stare at his red-scaled hands, and it does go to finally pass through his mind. He can summon scale armor from one of his familiars. The Demon Lord has multiple. If if he has a Tarask as a familiar, he can only think of one ability he would have that would keep him alive. But no, that doesn't make sense. Why would he? No, they killed that one Tarask, so was he mortal all those centuries ago? But if that's the case, then what did he do to this thing? And Deku does a glance up at the massive beast that's beginning to grow in size, roaring out more furiously as it does go to glare him down. Its massive eyes roaring at him. And Deku, he does go to send a blast of force magic directly into the massive ball of orange energy. And where it does to fire into the ball, he does go to bring up his arms. Right now, him going to create a wall of destruction as an explosion does go off in front of him. And everyone, they do get to feel the body of the god shaking. And right now, Deku, he does go to look up, seeing that there is a space that shouldn't be there. He fucked up again. Right now, Deku watching a tear in a dimensional wall, and he does stare at where it leads. But more importantly, he does go to turn his head and glance over at the Tarask. And right now, it's staggering backwards. A massive body and a mound of flesh that is just trying to regenerate, regrow. But it's horrifying to look at. A monster as tall as a building. And right now it's just regenerating flesh. Massive eyes, mouths, claws, spikes, armor. This isn't a Tarask. This is a monster. A true dark being. And that, it does worry Deku. He needs to hold it off or outlast it. The only way he can think of would cost potentially all of his magic. But that's a different story. Right now, him bringing his hands up and trying to use damage manipulation. Right now, he does try to nullify its regeneration. Slow it down. If he can, then it won't heal. But he can still feel it healing. He's making a dent, but not a big one. And that's bad. Right now, him bringing his hands up and blasting a full-powered force magic directly into the Tarask. And whenever he does hear the abomination roar out in pain, he does go to watch as Atrig does come rushing up. Him and many other warriors asking about what the hell they can do. People beginning to bombard it with energies as he does get a turn. Him telling Atrig, he wanted to fight a damn Tarask, right? Well, this one's a bit more out of his pay grade. But if he can try something, then try something. I certainly can. But, do you know the wish spell? No, I don't. It would be quite helpful right about now. How so? Wish for its death. That's the only thing I can think of. Is it possible? It's been said before in stories and legend. Right now, Drutha confirming, raising his hands and expressing. He can certainly try something himself. Though, if this is going to be a battle with giants, then perhaps he should be a giant. Make his ancestors quite proud. And the large man does begin to rush forwards. Deku watching as his sizable bulk does go to carry him faster than he thought. And he does begin to grow. Atrig beginning to take the form of a dragon as he does begin to grow in size as well. And the two, they do begin to fly in. Deku staring at that as he does go to do one very simple thing. He does go to open his inventory again and look to see that Chromatic Awakening is still cooling down. And he does get to release a breath. As it does go to fade and his tattoos do go to disappear. Staring down at his arms as he does get the information. Chromatic Awakening has achieved full restoration. Your mana pool has been restored to full. Your current use of mana has been taken from the mana pool. Your physical state has been restored to 100%. All abilities are now usable again, along with specialized abilities. Deku nodding at that, turning and looking back at the giant dragon. And the giant that's going in against that massive creature. Him swinging down a ginormous axe, crashing it into a massive limb of the Tarrasque. And it does a whirl around and let out a massive roar that does go to make Deku's ears begin to start ringing. It sounds like 1,000 monster trunks revving their engines. But he's still on his feet. Right now, though, he's got to figure out what to do. Him bringing his hands up and activating spatial magic. Whenever he does begin to see how certain things are going and how it is going to feel, he does begin to ask his dark spirit for advice. And it does try to guide him through what this ability can truly do. Him nodding his head as he does go to begin to grow in size and take on the form of a colossal dragon. As whenever he does go to literally massive roar against this beast, eyes do go to turn. And there is currently the Demon Lord and Bakugo. Bakugo, he does get a teleport with his blackened cloak to a different shadow. And the Demon Lord does a spin, trying to blast out an attack that he does go to dodge. Right now, him waving his hand out and seeing a blast of destruction magic directly into the man's face. Him dodging out of the way and using anti-magic to try and nullify what would have been hard damage. As he does go try and switch, trying to use a different magic as he does to coat his blade in black flames. Him swinging out to his Bakugo, who does a back up dodge and bring his hand up. Him going to manifest a sickle that does a slice directly down across the man's chest. Him roaring out in pain as damage does get a cut through him. Him staggering backwards, bringing his hand up and trying to blast out with sin magic, expressing for him to bleed for his god. And Bakugo, he does go to feel the effects try and rush at him, though he does go to back up and teleport away. The Demon Lord confused as Bakugo does a jump out of the man's shadow and impale him through the back through his heart. The Demon Lord roaring out in pain as Bakugo does go to bring up a hand. Him wrapping around the man's face and going to pull backwards to try and break into his jaw. As the Demon Lord, he does go to roar out, trying to spin around to shake Bakugo away. But that is only met whenever a knife does it appears directly up into the man's brain. Him going to stagger backwards, confused and alarmed. Bakugo going to pull his arm away as the blade does going to stick through the back of the man's head. And he does a turn, blasting the Demon Lord with more destruction magic. Him hoping to take the man down, if not just do something. And when the Demon Lord does go to stagger backwards, he does bring his hand up, pulling the blade out of his face. And he does go to someone stand there for a second before his brain does begin to process what just happened. Turning and watching Bakugo beginning to manifest some strange looking weapons. As he does go to rush in and throw out a fist. The Demon Lord going to dodge it and snapping Bakugo's arm as he does a punch him across the face. Bakugo tanking the blow and coming in with a right jab that does make teeth and blood fly. As the man does turn his head, seeing a massive dragon roar up into the sky and begin to emit divinity. The massive glow turning its scales platinum. And whenever he does stare at that, he does go to take pause. Him only being remembered of the battle when Bakugo does go to crash a massive fist into his face and slime magic does burst out onto him. The acid beginning to try and eat away at his eyes and skin. As he does a stagger back, bringing his hands up clutching at it, trying to rip it away and clumps. and this can only be as effective as his healing factor. Now, let's cut over to Ochako. Ochako, she's covered this giant Eldritch Leech in Phoenix fire. The fire is still burning away at its flesh. The creature has been subjected to debuffs, and she has made sure to hit it with a lot of power. Galore is beginning to win. And with these people here, the ones who are helping her now, the people on winged Pegasi and flying mages, along with what looks to be people from the material plane, she's fairly certain that they can win. Bombard it with enough damage, and that can happen. But her upcasting spells has significantly drained her. She could increase the power of her raw magic, and it has quite the stopping power. Right now, though, what she would need is something like Deku and Bakugo's destruction magic. Her chaos magic can do much, but she's not sure of its limit. And that, it's beginning to give her some ideas. She made chaos magic to try and do something different. Be different from Deku's ability. But that might be exactly what she does need right now. And with the fact that her and Deku are talking about these different battles, it's got her curious about how to handle the Tarask. In certain stories, they mentioned using the spell Wish, that powerful ability to take it down. And that it does mean something. Right now, her turning her attention back to the giant Tarask. This thing, it's in a monstrous size. It's regrown parts of its body, but the look of it, this strange mound of flesh that's turning into something. She's not sure if they can outlast it. She's seen the amount of damage piled on, but she's not sure. If they sever the connection to that familiar, along with the other beasts those people over there are fighting, they might be able to win. Right now, her going to telepathically ask Deku about what he's doing. And Deku, he does go to return back. Him even trying to pull Bakugo into the conversation, but Bakugo, he's a bit busy. Right now, he's holding off a demon lord who's incredibly pissed off. And with his war empowerment, he's letting loose on the guy as hard as physically possible. If they can take down that Tarask, then they can get to work. And Deku, he does understand, as Ochako does try to pull his attention back, asking him a question. The event called the Tarask familiar, right? Yeah, it did. Why? A little bit busy, though. Deku dodging out of the way of multiple slashes from elongated limbs that are coming at him, and he does send a breath of force directly at the Tarask. And she does express. What about the Demon Lord was odd? They know he's still recovering, right? Yeah, his soul's fragmented. There's a tear in it. There's a tear? Okay, that just adds to this then. This is making less sense the more you talk. What do you mean? Listen, Ochako, if you got any theories, I'm willing to hear them out. Deku dodging out of the way of multiple spikes again. And this time when he does come in, Drutha, he does come roaring down with an axe, cleaving off something that was important. The Tarask roaring out and attempting to try and attack him. Though, whenever it is smashed into a wall of destruction, it does a turn its attention back and roaring out again. Right now, Deku backing away as he does a shrink back down. Him crashing down and then holding his hands up, getting ready. Beginning to explain as he is getting ready to cast another spell. He doesn't know the best way to explain it. All he knows is it's like whenever he overuses spirit. If it gets damaged or fragmented, it's like breaking his soul. Kind of, There's a gap, a hole that repairs itself. His doesn't do that, though. What? Yeah, I can only assume it's from whatever the gods did to him or whatever he did to himself, or Ritus being involved. Either way, he wants my spirit ability. Lovely. Isn't that just peachy? But listen, everything you're saying doesn't make sense. Really, how so? You're right, he wants your spirit ability. But what he also wants is a way to fix himself. Yeah, that's how he would do it. No, you don't understand. What about this am I not understanding? Right now, Deku backing away from a massive explosion that does go off. And the Tarask, it does begin to just grow more and more. A massive mound of flesh that just won't die. And this is heavily annoying him. Okay, do you remember the story about warnings from familiars? Fragmenting your soul too many times? Yes. You think he fragmented too much? No, I think originally he fragmented, but whatever he did with Ritus fragmented him again. The damage is soul deep, which means we have a better chance of taking him out? No, that's the thing. You met his divine half, right? Whenever it showed up, how did it feel? Wrong? Wrong how? There was the presence of a god, but it wasn't. I could tell it was there. Exactly. They can't recombine. I think the Demon Lord knows this. I think they're two separate entities entirely. Because of that, they can't recombine. So what are you saying then? I'm saying whatever plan they have isn't going to work. It can't work. It was never supposed to. I'm fairly certain if we take out the Demon Lord, the mortal part, that will do something. His plan's doomed to fail, though. We need to take out both halves. Why? Izuku, if one part of it absorbs the other, what happens? One of them will have control. And do you really think that that guy's willing to give up control? Either half? No, he's nuts. Exactly. One is after divinity, while one doesn't trust the other with divinity. So, we're supposed to kill him. No, that's the thing. He's been weakening his own soul. A part of it's in the Tarask, a part of it's in the creature over there, and I'm fairly certain whatever else he's made deals with have parts of his mortal soul. His immortal soul, though, that's the part we need to destroy. Kill a god's soul. Got it. Any more request? Yeah. I'm gonna try and cast a spell. I think Galore can handle it from here with everything, but hold out with the Tarask. I don't know if my power can work, but if I cast a spell wrong once, I can't cast it again. Are you certain? Yes. Just make sure to wear that thing down. And I'll get the spell circle ready. Can you do that? I'm fairly certain I can. Though it's gonna be a bitch of my mono reserve. Yeah, well, trust me, it's gonna be bad on me too. I'm nearly out. Jesus. Yeah. Now, if you've got any other ideas to hold that thing in place, do it. I could use time magic, but I'm not sure. I've got space magic, but, well, spatial magic. It's the advanced form of, I know what it is, just use it. It's going to be a lot, but we need it to be held in place. I think this is how we work. This is how we win. Whatever ability he gained from the Tarask might be what's keeping his mortal self alive. Are you certain of this? What abilities did you get from a dragon? Fair enough. Him going to bring his hands up and begin to cast a spell. And he does try to think about it. Right now, the Tarask, it does have a large spell circle move around it. It beginning to glow with runes. As the runes, they do begin to manifest into another spell circle that does go to create a wall of magic directly in front of it. On the Tarask, it does try to move, reaching out as it does go to do nothing. Right now, that being where the Tarask does roar out. It trying to move past the circle, but not being able to get free. And Deku does go to stand there, trying to hold his concentration on keeping the spell active. Right now, Deku bring up his hand and re-manifesting the Horn of Judgment. And this time, he does go to suck in a breath and blow the horn loud. As when the Demon Lord is exchanging blows with Bakugo, he doesn't hear that sound. Him immediately vanishing away and going to look around. But the moment he does see a large beam of light strike down on the Star Eater Tarask, he does go to watch on in horror. Watching as the beam of light does come down from multiple positions in the sky. 3 of them shooting down and punching in the Tarask at different places. And the Tarask does a roar out in pain. As many people, they do go to either float in the air or stand there, blasting spells directly down on this bastardized monster. And it does roar out in anger and feral agony. And the Demon Lord, he does go to turn as he's about to manifest over in that direction. The Bakugo does bring his hands up and go to grab the man, as he does go to vanish and teleport further away from this part of the battlefield. As long as the Demon Lord can't get there, they're good. And he does go to ask them, whatever the hell they're doing to that thing, keep it up. He's more concerned with that damn Tarask. And Ochako tells Bakugo, they figured out how he may be immortal. It's a theory, but it's one they've got to test anyways. Make sure he doesn't scream to power that thing back up again. They may only have one shot at performing this damn spell. And Bakugo does confirm. Him using Dragon Heart at level 5. Now, this stacked on top of his war empowerment makes him quite a powerhouse. And the Demon Lord was not ready whenever Bakugo, he took him to the Land of Shadows. Right now, him going to look around. And when he does go to look up, the land in the sky, it is beginning to bleed with the power of the abyss. The Demon Lord staring at that and being quite bewildered, quite alarmed. The abyss is falling into another reality. And that does make him want to laugh. Everything in both realities may collide, may die. And it will destabilize everything. It may give rise to the First World once more. But if that happens, he won't have a land to rule over. He won't have power. Though, he'll figure that out later. Right now, he has to make sure they don't take out that damn Tarask. The damn horn. That is his main concern. And that is only met whenever he does get struck in the face by a flaming power. Him being shot backwards as Bakugo, he does go to stand there, holding his hands up and telling the man about how it doesn't seem like that's gonna work. Clearly that damn thing is important to him. So it's best he makes sure he doesn't get it. And the Demon Lord is quite annoyed. But Bakugo does go to raise a hand, pulling out a small stone. informing the man he kept this just in case. It's quite an interesting magical item, on par with that horn. The man freezing, staring at Bakugo a bit more warily. And he does go to raise his hands up as he does go to pull out what appears to be some sort of multi-segmented staff. Bakugo does go to whisper something to it as a staff does begin to glow with power. And the rune does go to vanish back into Bakugo's inventory, informing him. Now, the staff glowing with a strange power. They're going to go ahead and figure this all out now. So, what is he going to do? Bakugo spinning the staff around as it does have the pieces begin to flail around more like nunchucks. And he does talk about it. This is going to be quite fun. Him going to spin the staff around his back again as one end of it does go flying towards him. And when the Demon Lord is struck by it, he's quite alarmed, reaching out and grabbing it as Bakugo, he does go to teleport in like he's reeling himself in on a fishing line. Him bring up the other side that is still in his hand that does it to come off like a wire. It smashing into the Demon Lord's face as he does it to reel the pieces back in when the Demon Lord does stagger backwards, spinning it around in his left hand and smashing across the man, who feels like he was hit by a damn truck. Though that doesn't even feel like half of it. He does stagger backwards, temporarily alarmed as the blow did more than he thought. Though when the Demon Lord does bring his hand up to cast another spell, he does blast a strange black fire directly at Bakugo, who does go to fall backwards in his black cloak and teleport into the man's shadow. Him going to stab out as the end of the staff does pierce directly through the Demon Lord's back again into his gut. Right now, him turning it as the staff does shoot pieces of metal that do act more like a grappling hook. Bakugo ripping backwards as the Demon Lord does go to scream out in pain and turn with a spin. Right now, him being punched across the face again as the Demon Lord does go to bring his hand up. And he does go to try and cast a spell, wanting to use anti-magic against Bakugo. The Bakugo does going to vanish away as the man does begin to look around, as multiple people in dark cloaks do begin to pop up around the battlefield around the man, and he isn't sure what to do, as he does express. His little games are quite tiring. The fact of the matter is, he can just leave now. No, you can't. Him turning and blasting out a strange beam that direction, as there is with a staff does a crash around him and wrap around his left shoulder, it flying towards another one of the people in shadows who do to catch it. And this does cause some tension. The strange wire digging into the man's arm as he does try to turn and grab at it. Him being smashed in the chest again as the cord is to wrap around his torso and make its way back to another person. Another cord flying in as another one does going to do the same thing. And Bakugo, he does just try and keep the Demon Lord from doing anything. And the man is quite annoyed. Him roaring out in anger as he does try to use teleportation magic. Though, when he does try to attempt to teleport, there is little wires do dig into him and the staff does retract completely. The moment he tried to vanish, he was bisected. Multiple parts of him being cut apart like he was chopped with a fine knife. And when the staff does reel back together, one end of it does go flying towards the rest. Right now, it going to be grabbed by Bakugo, who does come in and smash down with raw magic empowering his staff. And it does go to cave the man's head in as he does roar out in pain. The Demon Lord rapidly beginning to regenerate as he does go to climb to his feet. Him heavily annoyed as he does go to bend down and grab his left arm, though that isn't happening. Bakugo keeps trying to pile on the power, pile on the aggression, and the Demon Lord is not having it. Right now, him going to wait. And whenever he does get to activate his empowered state, Bakugo is put on the back foot. That being the moment the Demon Lord was waiting for. Him lunging into the air and flying back into the hole in reality. And whenever he does get to make his way back into the abyss, he does try to teleport to where his kingdom is, the land he rules on a dead enemy. And whenever he does come back in, he does get to watch on in horror as Ochako does float there in the air, her damaged mage robes bellowing as the weapons on her aren't even being pulled. She does have magical bracers that glow with a bright color. And she uses a massive spell circle above the Tarrasque to speak the words death. And that it does horrify him. The magic faded from the Tarrasque. And what he does see now is a massive beam of light crash into it and rip that thing apart. And this does come with one very bad flaw. The man looking down and being informed about his immortality being retracted because his abilities were lost with his familiar's death. And this does terrify the Demon Lord. Right now, him bellowing on a massive war cry as he does call for his other half again. And this time, he does just begin to spam magic. He opens a gate to the Nine Hells. And whenever that does get to happen, he has entities begin to come flying out of it, piling out of it. And whenever they do get a turn, feeling the Demon Lord's aura empowered again, they do get to watch as an army does meet their own. Druso and Atrig, they are quite alarmed by the amount of fatigue they're feeling. Though, they do jump into battle with the other creature that was here. Meanwhile, there is Ochako and Bakugo, along with Deku. These three can see the Demon Lord again. And Deku, whenever he does that teleport in front of the man is quite alarmed. Right now, him going to have an aura wrap around him that does get to coat him. And it does mean quite a bit. Though Deku, he does go to bring up his weapon and slash out with an orange blade. The Demon Lord trying to back away as Bakugo, he does go flying in and crashing into the man. Him alarmed and annoyed as there is where he does go to get back up and turn, glaring at the three heroes who do stare at him. And Ochako does make a comment. She's pretty sure she understands what he does now. If she's right, though, now he's just like them. Well, no, actually, she's wrong. They're still immortal. And the man does glower at her, quite pissed by what she's saying. But this time, a secondary voice does come through. Not the Demon Lord she's heard before. You're quite the tricky one. You're the mage. And these are your warriors. Do you really believe that you can stop me? You can't stay in that state for too long, can you? You're forcing your way into a damaged soul. You can't dominate it, which means you can't absorb it. You do not know about which you speak, don't I? Izuku couldn't absorb Bakugo without harming him. That's why they couldn't work together like that. You saw it, didn't you? I know you did. Besides, your soul's so battered and broken, you can't win unless you destroy his. Weaken his to the point where you're confident in fighting him. Trust me, you're not the only one with soul damage. Deku saying that out loud. And Ochako does nod her head since Deku just confirmed another one of her theories. And Bakugo does express, mind filling him in? Simple. The clouds been playing the jackass for a fool for millennia, and he didn't even realize it. This giving pause to the creature in front of them. But Bakugo does take a bit of a closer look. He can kind of see it, see what they're talking about. The way his aura does change and ripple, but he can kind of get it. If you're just going to be chipping away at things that are splitting it in half, eventually someone's going to have the bigger half. It doesn't matter who. And then have both those halves crack at some point. Yeah, something bad happened. Something they're trying to hide and something they can take advantage of. And the three, they do stand there. As Deku does turn to Bakugo and ask him if he thinks the champion can actually fight stable this time. No. Trust me, I'm not dealing with that. Summon something, we'll cover you. No, you will not. The Demon Lord raising a hand. But Bakugo does create a wall of force magic, create a wall of destruction magic in front of Deku. Ochako bring her hands up and amplifying his spell as the anti-magic does crash into it. Right now, it being disabled by their combined attack, or their combined defense. And Deku, he does get to raise his hands, trying to summon something. As the circle, it does go to glow with power. And Deku does go to try and wait, looking up to see that Galore is still battling off with that giant thing above them. But when he does get to look back down, the circle, it's not doing anything. And a whisper does tickle the back of his mind. Right now, him not sure if anything in the abyss will help them. There's something here. But it's going to be a harder search. And he does watch the Demon Lord begin to rush them. Him teleporting behind the group as Bakugo does turn and send out a powerful kick that the Demon Lord does go to take. Right now, him annoyed as Ochako does raise her hand and immediately begin casting debuffs with her abilities. And right now, Bakugo does roar out with murderous intent that does stagger the Demon Lord. Deku coming in and coating his blade with his damage manipulation. And whenever he does a slice into the man, he does go to slice open his torso. The man roaring out in pain as his natural healing factor, it's not working. And whenever Deku does a turn slashing out towards the man, he does try to block the attack and throw a punch out towards Deku, who does go to bring up a spiritual arm that does catch the blow as he does a turn and headbutt the man again. Hard. And the Demon Lord does take the attack as Ochako does roar out something and blast him in the back. The Demon Lord turning and trying to swing out and attack her way, telling her to carry the mark of her sins and bleed for her god. And that it is meant whenever she does raise her hands and go to create a barrier. It smashing the barrier as she's teleport away. Right now, her raising her hands and smashing something into his back that he can't see. And whenever he does a stagger away, there is where Deku does come in and kick him directly in the back of his shoulder blade. Him landing on the ground where the Demon Lord just gets sent smashing into it. Bakugo coming in and trying to do more with attacking. Him raising a massive hammer over his head and crashing in the man's back. As he does go to vanish away and reappear. This time, him bringing his hands up and trying to get ready. Since, clearly, they don't understand what they're dealing with. He will not be denied what fate has paid so long for him to have. He will reattain his divinity. But he does somewhat ask himself that question about what they've been trying to say. And the divine half does try to play this off, informing him that they are simply trying to weasel their way into his mind. They are trying to turn him against himself. Trust his judgment. And if they do need to, they need to find the right time to head back. His current set of abilities are not suited for this task. They are not. No. Galore's heart. We need more. We need more of his blood. Can you get away? I can certainly try. It won't be easy, though. Him looking down and seeing that his wound is still bleeding. Him annoyed by that. As he does go to sigh. Getting ready, since he was not expecting this part of the plan. Improvising. He hates improvising. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.